My little friend, Professor Ratigan. That's me. This is an image made by the people at Disney for me of a character I play in The Great Mouse Detective. He's called Professor Ratigan. He's a rat, but he doesn't like to be called a rat. He likes to be thought of as a very large mouse. Very subtle.
Well, this is worth all the Oscars in the world.
All the Oscars in the world lumped right into that marvelous figure.
Vincent Price a tourné avec les plus grands. Cécile B. DeMille, Fritz Lang, Preminger et Mankiewicz, avant de jouer les pervers et les maniaques dans les petits films d'horreur fauchés de Roger Corman. Vincent Price a traversé tout cela avec la même élégance, le même humour, le même désenchantement. Le moins que l'on puisse dire est qu'il ne s'est jamais pris au sérieux.
Oh, no, I don't take myself seriously at all. Maybe I should have, but I don't, because I really think of life as a great expression of joy. And if you take yourself seriously, you're going to be defeated, I'm afraid. Well, I've lasted a long time. This is my 51st year in the business, as it's called. I've really I think maybe the key word is business. I've never thought of it as a business. I've thought of it as an expression of fun, of joy, and that you should be able to make fun of yourself. This character is really me. No, I really did play an awful lot of leading men. And I got kind of sick of them. They were so good, you know, and I always wanted to play a villain. And my first villain was in the theater in a play called Angel Street. And it was a great success. And I thought, well, if I can duplicate that kind of a villain in movies, you know, it'll give me a career. But then I did a lot of different kinds of movies, too, in which I wasn't a villain. I think the ones that I'm most fond of are the comedies, actually, the sort of send-ups of the kind of films that I had made before. Disney did a little film a couple of years ago called Vincent. And it's about a little boy who wants to play in my kind of movies, and his mother hates it, and he dips his nanny in wax, and he's a terrible little boy. It's called Vincent. I narrated it.
So you mean you were in on the joke,
I was in on the joke. That is, maybe that is the whole recipe of life, is to be in on the joke. Because life is a joke, and if you're not in on it, you're out. But if you're in on it, you can make it. When I first came out to California, to movies, there were a lot of wonderful villains, but they kept dying off, and I kept moving up a notch. And finally, I got to a point where I was the only one left. Somebody asked me why they chose me for a voice on the Michael Jackson record Thriller. And I said that, you know, the producer had just gone down the list, and he said, dead. Oh, get him, you know, quick. No, they were wonderful fellows. They never took themselves seriously. Peter Lorre and Boris Karloff and Basil Rathbone. But we had a great fun. We used to sit around in the morning before we'd start to work and say, how are we going to scare them today, you know? And then we would enjoy it. And I think the secret of those films and why they've lasted so well is that you scream at the terror of them because they have really moments of terror, but then you find yourself ridiculous for having screamed and you laugh at yourself. That maybe is the clue to life, as I said. In on the joke.
But you were not, I mean, although you were the arch villain in a lot of horror films, I mean, you were never scary yourself, really. You were just evil and mean, but you were not, you know, you never had, like, teeth.
No. I never could talk with those teeth in my mouth. It was terribly difficult. Somebody tried to make me play Dracula once. I couldn't do it. I kept swallowing the teeth. They kept biting me.
So you couldn't really play a rat either?
Oh, I couldn't play a rat. He's a very large mouse, you've got to remember.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Before you got into playing in horror films, you played the other man, the smoothie, also weak.
Yes.
Well, did you find this hard to play?
They were interesting. I think one picture you're talking about is Laura, which is really a great classic film. But everybody in that film, and the secret of that film was everybody underneath a certain surface, a kind of scum of respectability. They were all very evil people. And it's what made it fascinating, because not one of us was more evil than the next one. We were just terrible people, and you were fascinated by it. They were what is known as the jet set. Terrible.
In the 50s, you also signed a contract with Howard Hughes.
I made 3 pictures with him. One of them where they sent me a letter and they said, sent me the script and they said, come down and tell us what you think of the script. And I said, I think it's the worst script I ever read in my life. They said, oh, you're so right, isn't it wonderful? I said, well, you're going to change it? They said, not a word. And it was a script that was devised to get rid of his contracts with all the girls. There were 250 girls at the top. Oh, called The Son of Sinbad. Never were so many women in one picture in the world.
What did you have to do?
Oh, I played Omar the tent maker or something or other. I don't know. The thief of Baghdad. Ridiculous. And Dale Robertson played Omar. That's right. And I played the great poet.
How was it terminated?
It just ended. We knocked on a gate and said, open sesame, you know, in the cave of the 40 thieves, but not the 40 thieves in this cave. There were the daughters of the 40 thieves. That way we got rid of 40 girls.
And how did your contract with Hughes end?
Just when he sold the studio.
Much earlier on, you also worked with a horror master.
James Whale.
James Whale.
Yes, it was...
You caught him too late, or...?
Yeah, I caught him too late. It was really one of the worst pictures ever made. I think it's on every list of the 50 worst pictures ever made.
What was
Which
it?
is certain kind of status, you know. I mean, if you're on one of those lists, you're really made. It was called, what was it called? Green Hell, pardon me. Green Hell. It was green hell, all right. It was corn, right up to here. Terrible, terrible picture.
What kind of picture was it?
Well, it was about the jungle. And it had every star in Hollywood was in it. I had a very small part. I got killed off very early. But I had a line which people used to quote to me because it was a serious line, but they screamed with laughter. I'm going up the Amazon River in a boat with Douglas Fairbanks Jr., very young, very romantic. And his nickname is Brandy. Brandy. I say, Brandy, do you think it's possible for a man to be in love with 2 women at the same time and in his heart be faithful to each and yet want to be free of both of them? The audience fell apart. You couldn't hear the next 10 minutes of the picture. Oh, dear, I love him.
In the 60s, you did all these pictures for AIP.
Yeah.
How did you fall into this? You didn't mind like working fast, working with no money as far as production is concerned?
No, as a matter of fact, I really think working fast is the way to do it. Because, you know, this thing today, you see a picture and you read about it and it costs $40 million and you go to see it and there's nothing on the screen at all except a car chase. Well, I can buy 2 cars and bang them up and get them for about 10,000 bucks. Where the $40 million went, I don't know, except for some actor nobody ever wants to see again, who charges $10 million. But Roger Corman, you're talking about, he really knew how to make pictures. We worked very hard. We do 75 setups a day. It wasn't difficult. It was much easier than sitting around like I did on one picture for 9 months. I could have had a baby in that time.
Which one was that?
Song of Bernadette. No, I couldn't have had a baby. It was a very holy picture.
You played in Song of Bernadette?
Song of Bernadette. Played the prosecutor of the town of Lourdes.
You gave her a hard time.
I gave her a hard time. But then I believed at the end.
You played in good films, but also, I mean, you know, you played in
Schlocky ones.
some schlocky ones, and you don't seem to, I mean, you seem to have avoided all that, I mean...
Yes, I know that I should have really been much more choosy. My wife is a brilliant actress, English actress. And she waited 5 years one time for a part to come along that was just right. And she was right. She won the Academy Award in England for it. Then she waited 3 years for another one to come along, and it was right. Meanwhile, somebody's got to pay the rent. That's me.
What about the postcard that you just received? Somebody was asking you for an autograph, and there was this picture of...
Oh, yes, no, it was
Peter
a poster.
Lorre.
It was a gag that Boris and Karloff and Peter Lorre and Basil Rathbone and myself did during lunch one day. We all sat in these coffins on the set reading Variety, and it's called Lunch Break. And suddenly it became a very famous collector's item. And the other day, one of them brought $600 as some kind of a charity. Well, somebody sent me a poster that's been made from it to autograph. So I said, thank you very much, and I'm delighted to be in such good company, and I'm sure if they were still alive, they'd signed it too. Yours sincerely, Vincent Price. Next. Why not?
Thank you very much, Mr. Price.
Thank you. Great fun. Bless you.